another one of our amazing pre-Cal Jam podcasts, sponsored by our good friends up in Palmyra, Wisconsin. Santa Process, I got a really good friend of mine that I got to actually hang out with in Italy. Matthew Loop, say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whoever's listening today.
What's going on, guys? Good to be here. Thank you, Billy.
All right. I'm really excited to have you. And, when this whole social media thing started, since that's what we're going to talk about today, I figured, since that's what you're the expert at, I was really reluctant to change. In fact, I thought Facebook was, I don't want to say what I thought it was because it's probably not PC, but I just didn't understand it. And then as soon as I figured it out, I go, wow, this is an amazing platform for us to really open up and kind of get our message out to the world in an uncensored way. And I still see a lot of people have reluctance to using things like Facebook. And why don't you go over why that's just like shooting yourself in the foot? I mean, because it's free, number one. And if you really want to take it to the next level, you could. I don't understand this about chiropractors. They'll go to Vegas and lose money. But if they were guaranteed, if they went to the roulette table and every time they put $1 down, they'd make $10. Why don't chiropractors do? Like, you get the ROI on this stuff is just like, I know if I put this much money into it, I'm going to get. Say I put $500 into a Facebook ad, I know it's going to generate at least 2 good new patients out of it, and you're going to end up quadruple. It's I don't get it, dude. It's a frustrating thing for me.
I'm under the impression that we as a profession, we need to start marketing like it's the actual year we live in, first of all.
Right.
Because no one wants to go see an outdated or out-of-touch doctor. That's just the way it is. And 20 years ago, if you weren't in the Yellow Pages, people would look at you as suspect because that's what every reputable professional did. So there's no sense in swimming against the tide or going uphill here. We need to adapt and evolve. And it's also a good positioning tool. Like you said, if you harness it correctly, you can still get a tremendous amount of free exposure. But Facebook's kind of changed the game dramatically. And we should track the return on the investment that we get if we're spending to, let's say, promote a blog post, if we're spending to fill a workshop in our practice, if we're spending to promote a video, a treatment style video, whatever it is. I mean, I can tell you that from Facebook in terms of great return on investment, anywhere from 50 to 100 and plus to 1 is possible when you dial it in. And I have clients and colleagues that do that all the time. At bare minimum, you could haphazardly get a 10 to 1 ROI if you're just dabbling. So, and listen, I'm one of those guys, if something else is working for you to get the message out in the community, by all means, keep doing that.
Of course.
In my opinion, there's no other high leverage way to do it and connect with so many people in such little time than you can with Facebook.
Okay. And why don't you go explain to the doctors that are listening how to use Facebook most effectively? I mean, I kind of get it. And again, I'm still learning this stuff as far as, I actually have another conference call today at 11 with some guy that's really good on Facebook, and we're going to really try to take the Cal Jam marketing to the next level. Mm-hmm. Because he basically told me there's even better ways than boosting stuff. Do you have any input on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Simple Boost is a bare bones basic way to promote something on Facebook.
Okay.
But if you really want to get stealth ninja and just really hit the community, there are several different types of ads that we should run. And this involves us going back into what's called our Facebook Ads Manager. So if you go to facebook.com/ads/manager, that's where you can technically run an ad to either your local marketplace, to a group of chiropractors around the world, to anyone given by keyword. You can even run an ad, picture this, by purchase behavior. So if somebody is purchasing stuff in the health space related to holistic health, nutrition, chiropractic, whatever, did you know that you can actually reach those people that have purchased, meaning they pulled out their credit card and they said, all right, I'm serious about this. And what we know from just basic direct response marketing, if somebody's already bought something, they're more likely to buy another thing. So we have so much targeting capability with Facebook at our fingertips, and that's usually the way that I will run it. I don't just simply boost posts in many cases, but something very, very simple the average doctor could do. In fact, one of our members in our group, now and this is an exception certainly, but he posted a video of him adjusting an infant, and the baby was crying. He adjusted this little girl, and a couple seconds later, she completely stopped crying. It was like magic, but we see this stuff all the time
in
our office. So he did that, and now I think it's been 2 to 3 weeks later, it's got 2 million views on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And that's been organic. Even if it wasn't organic, I still would recommend pushing that out with Facebook's, they have what's called a get video view option. So when you're in your ads manager, one of the options that you can select is called the get video view option. This is essentially where you upload a video to Facebook directly on your fan page. And when you upload it there, you have the option to promote it. And if you have a really good video that's hitting with the marketplace, you'll get under a penny per video view, which is just insane. And in the best videos, you'll get under like a half a penny per video view. Now, certainly we know all of those, quote, video views aren't just people watching the video, right? They're people scrolling through their newsfeed, certainly, because Facebook does it every 3 seconds. That's how they count a video view. But if you compare that to, let's say, television, my sister works in media sales, and she can tell you, listen, hey, if you want to overcome critical mass in the Jacksonville market, it's going to cost you $250,000. We're going to create these commercials, and we're going to run these commercials X times per day. She's got it down to a science. What I'm saying, though, is with a Facebook video ad, and Facebook for that matter, you can hit the tipping point and overcome critical mass in your community for a tiny, tiny fraction of the cost. And that's how I've been helping doctors do that for years and years and years. Who knows how long the window of opportunity will be available to us, but right now, I'll tell you that simple treatment-style videes, they can work exceptionally well. I know some doctors are a little apprehensive to doing that, but
why are they apprehensive?
What was I reading the other day in one of the groups? And this sparked a discussion after I watched Dr. Sid on 60 Minutes. I saw a video. I'm like, oh my God, he was adjusting, toggling patients in his older office, and it garnered a huge response. And some people don't think that. I don't remember the exact reason why. Maybe they were thin-skinned. Who knows?
Okay.
But
well,
the bottom line,
there's a lot of those out there. So
it's true. It's very true. But the bottom line is, if somebody can actually see what you're doing and why you're doing it before they step in your office, you break down those psychological barriers of fear, the skepticism, and patient gets off the table with a big grin. Well, oh my gosh. So I've just found that those videos can perform exceptionally well, getting a low cost per video view. And I would say for every 15 to 30 bucks you spend, you could easily attract a patient in the office with just one video like that, put it that way.
Right. What do you think about testimonials?
You have to have them.
Right,
I mean,
right.
The number one reason why people don't buy from you in any service is because they don't believe you.
Right.
So there's nothing better. You could suck at direct response marketing, you could suck at sales or communication, but if you have 100+ testimonials, video, written, etc., online in your office, give me a break. 100+ testimonials, it just makes you the only logical choice. So you absolutely must have them.
Right. It's kind of weird. It's almost now when people come in from Facebook, it's not weird, I understand it, but it's like they already know you. They already feel like you're your friend. They already, just like, it's almost scary, dude. Like some people come in and they're like a fan and stuff, and it's kind of I don't understand why doctors would not do it, because it really opens the door. Like you said, people already know you. They feel comfortable with you. They really they trust you. They have a total belief in what you're doing. It's not like you even have to really like try to close people, in the literal sense. It's just they've already come in. They know who you are. They want what you got, and they're ready to open up their checkbook and write a check and pay for chiropractic care. And that's the way it should be. And I just have never, in all the years that I've done, I still love public speaking, obviously, as it's the number one. And in fact, I want to ask you that question before we.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. I just need to get a little bit better about pinpointing exactly the market that I want to point to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the call is going to be about today. And maybe we can have another call on another day, a future day, a little more advanced
Sure.
Matthew Loop Facebook 200 level, where you can teach us some exact specifics. And after this conference call I have today, I'll probably have some more questions for you too.
Sure.
But that's just, to me, it's like in all the years I've been in practice, 31, there's nothing that even comes. Like, it's so funny you said Yellow Page, because I got a I don't think it was a fax, dude. A fax trying to get me to sign up for the Yellow Pages, and I'm thinking, who the fuck goes to the Yellow Pages to look for a doctor anymore? It's not even something that happens anymore, does it?
It's very rare. There are certain communities that, if they're more geriatric, they might still do that, but it is really on its way out. And I think that everyone knows that. So with social media, it's very vast. You could be doing 100 things, but if you're going to focus on one high leverage place, Facebook is where it's at. And there's even so much that you can do. I don't want to get too technical, but when you start building a list or even your patient lists, you can upload that list to Facebook. You can target them with a specific ad. So if you're having a patient appreciation day or invite a friend at dinner talk or a reactivation, I mean, they can see you all over the place. And rather than sending the snail mail newsletters to keep in touch with your patients, you can use a combination of email with a great Facebook ad to get them to see a blog post, a piece of content, or again, something that you're hosting in the office. So just we have a lot of power at our fingertips. Certainly, you don't even have to go that advanced. It's just about getting started and posting at least 3 to 4 times per day, because Facebook has become a business and they will filter your status updates. I don't know how many doctors really realize that, but if you check your Insights tab, you'll see, based on the content that you post, if it's an article, if it's a video, a live video, if it's a graphic, research article, you'll see in your Insights tab how many people that it reached, and you'll also get an idea of the time that you posted. What I like to do is try to figure out patterns. Where are we getting the most visibility at in the newsfeed? Because certainly we want to get as much free exposure and visibility as possible. And if we can, over a couple weeks, isolate, let's say 3 to 4 times per day, that our audience is at its peak online, and then from there, the type of content that they're responding to best, well, now we have something that we can work with, what we can measure, what we can improve.
Right. Okay, so I had this question, just it came up in my mind. What can we do with Facebook? Say you like to speak in the corporate world and you offer these things, lunch and learns, or maybe they do dinners or even breakfast or do 10-minute talks like Brad teaches, Brad Glowacki.
Yeah.
How could we use Facebook to introduce that to different companies and corporations so we could get more speaking engagements? What's your idea on that?
Now, depending how large the company is, if you're going to create a Facebook ad, you can literally drill down to people that work at Boeing.
Okay.
I mean, that's how specific you can get. So, I mean, it gives me goosebumps because it's unreal the time that we're living in and what we have. So you could literally have or live video or record a section of your 10-minute talk, maybe have somebody splice it together and do a little preview, and then stick that in the newsfeed. And it's one of those things where repetition breeds that familiarity. And you can target HR people in the state of California.
Yeah.
If you wanted to,
right,
with any material that you have. If you've got something offline that works really well, like a couple flyers, a pamphlet, you could easily translate that online. And
well, I think you said like even just a little clip of you doing the talk in front of everybody would be great.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing more credible than you speaking in front of 100 or a few thousand people. That's right. Just, this doctor obviously has done it before. He knows what he's talking about. So,
right. So how would you, has anybody that you've worked with done that yet?
Targeting HRs, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you have done that already?
Yeah, now depending on what state you're in, or if it's just a region in the city, well, there's going to be a bigger or smaller audience. But you can certainly do that, and it is a very smart strategy. Sometimes they go by the HR position. I can't remember what's the other name? Wellness coordinator that they. There's another name there. I'm Brad Glowacki would certainly know it. But you can target by position, you can target by company, and then even if you spend a couple dollars per day, over time, that's going to reach the right people with the right message, and eventually you're probably going to get some type of response, assuming you're telling them what to do next. And then you can even push it if you have this list that you've created, let's say of HR directors in the state of Georgia. You might publish some type of informative video, you talking, you might have a blog post that kind of relates to that. I usually like to hit them with different types of content, and it's over and over, more value, more value, more value, and
right.
then certainly have more of a direct, in-your-face, hey, if you're looking for this type of professional to reduce injuries in the workplace, blah, 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 whatever your...
Increase productivity, less, yeah, all that shit. So, cool. It's just amazing what we can do. I had another question for you, but what did I write? Do you ever... Here's one of my kind of questions for you, and it doesn't bother me a bit that I think the way I use Facebook, I probably alienate a good percentage of people because it's kind of in your face. It's also going against the grain of what most people... I mean, it was literally when we were going through this whole SB 277 thing here in California with the mandatory vaccine thing, which we got crammed down our throats. I was kind of blown away that most of the people that were still coming to me as new patients were not vaccinating their kids. And it was like, I was kind of blown away because I knew that the state rate of vaccination was somewhere around 98%. And I'm thinking, well, why the hell everybody's still come to me? None of these people are vaccinating their kids. I was just attracting those kind of people that are in our boat already, which I think is a good thing because it's easier to close people like that than somebody that doesn't get it. But on the flip side, is there some probably negative aspect to maybe cutting off half your audience? Because I know there's certain chiropractors that don't even mention that they're chiropractors in social media. Sure. To get them in the door. What's your opinion on that?
I think that personally, I believe it's important to draw a line in the sand.
Okay, good. I wanted you to say that because
that's my personal opinion. Now, yeah. I've seen it work successfully both ways. But sure. For me to wake up in the morning and do certain things, like I don't know if you saw this, but I had a pharmaceutical company approach me, and actually they wanted me to help promote one of their products and whatever, and I couldn't believe it. First of all, I'm like, get out of here, and right. I was polite about it, but I declined the offer. But you have to draw a line in the sand, what you stand for and what you stand against. And I find that the better you do that, like you said, you attract the right person in your audience.
Right.
Personally, I tend not to believe the numbers in a lot of polls and statistics because we know how easily fabricated that is to sway and influence the opinion of the masses. So
kind of like with the election we just had.
What's that?
Just like the election we just had.
Oh, for sure. And that's strategic. Right. The media manipulates. We know that. At least the educated people do. So I believe that. But there's also it's undeniable that in the marketplace, at least in the United States, chiropractic itself has a negative brand equity.
Right.
So if let's say you're running a workshop in your local community, and this is totally up to you. You could say local Sarasota chiropractor shares this blah 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 blah. Or you could say local doctor shares blah, 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 blah at this workshop. In that situation, again, totally up to you, but if you're trying to put yourself on the even keel where people aren't judging you like right off the bat for whatever it is, because most people don't even know what chiropractic truly is.
Right.
They know what they heard, which is in many cases not the real deal. And so it really depends, but I like to draw a line in the sand, certainly, with the types of content. I mean, I speak very vocal about vaccinations and stuff, so people know where I stand, and that's just my opinion.
Right, and I get a lot of flack for that too. It kind of blows me away that chiropractors want to say that vaccination isn't a chiropractic issue, and I know that. I mean, it's not. But when you know as much as we know, and whether these people don't know it or not, literally, you're poisoning the freaking children of today. And it's not a chiropractic issue; it's a humanitarian issue, and it's a matter of just who else is going to talk about it other than chiropractors. I always say, are you expecting the massage therapist or the acupuncturist to step up to the plate? The reality is, and then what pisses me off the most, because I get pissed off a lot, is that these guys that want to throw darts at you, whatever, what's going to happen when they start coming after us? And it's just the rattle. We got to stand up sooner or later, and that's what I love about social media, because you look what it does as far as getting us to rally us together and get the troops together, even though some of this stuff has already been pre-rigged. But yeah. What is your opinion in the fact that a lot of chiropractors don't want to touch the vaccination issue?
I think that, and I have a lot of friends that approach it both ways. Some of them, they just post chiropractic-related stuff. They stay on a specific topic, and there's certain value in that, and not mixing the messaging in a specific way. However, like with basically what you said, if we know something like that, and when I was in practice full time, I was kind of the same way. You have all this knowledge, and you can't just vomit on your patients because they're not going to retain that much anyway.
Right.
It's kind of got to be a gradual process. But how can I not tell this person what I know, or how can I not do this? So I totally feel you, and I'm the same way there. If we don't step up to the plate, I can't see any other larger professions going to do that. At least generate some momentum enough to stop some of these bills and to really make a dent and an impact. So I think that we should step up, honestly.
Right. And, it was BJ and Didi both railed on vaccines back in the day, and you're looking at now. It's not even. There's no comparison about the amount of vaccines people used to get, and plus now they're mandatory here in California. And it's sad because I have my neighbor came to me. She sells medical equipment to hospitals, and she's been trying to get out of this hepatitis B shot Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't woke up yet. And a flu shot. And she just went around the horn trying to go to different doctors to get an exemption. And finally, she just had to get the shots. And it's just like, it's what's it coming to, man? And we're looking at a society. If we don't stand up now, we're going to look at a world where your kids and their kids are not even going to be their kids anymore. They're going to be property of the state, property of the republic, and you're going to have forced immunizations. You're not going to have any decisions on whether. See, it's like if we don't stop the cancer now, and that's the beauty of social media is like we've got all these groups that get together that start movements, and it's just great because there's nothing else that's going to level the playing field because the media is all rigged. I mean, that's what the whole thing is beautiful about social media is the fact that it's open, it allows us to communicate, it's uncensored at least, and let's talk about that in a little bit.
I will say, and I'm glad you brought that up. I will say that now is of the utmost importance, certainly because as we know Zuckerberg supports Bill Gates' charities. We know certain things, and personally because you've had your account. Like, you've been put in timeout several times, right?
Yeah. Not so much anymore, which kind of blows me away. What do you think? I don't know what.
Facebook,
why.
The gatekeepers are coming back, is what's happening. So social media used to be totally uncensored, but now the gatekeepers are coming back, especially with this election. So I'm even noticing on certain posts, regardless of what the topic is, if it's against the status quo really hardcore, then you're going to have some uphill battles. And now they're talking about all this fake news. But who determines what news is fake?
You mean like the stuff that we see on TV every day?
Yeah, it's very dangerous, and it concerns me because, like you, I mean, social media is the ultimate equalizer. That's what I believe. But I see how it can easily be influenced. And Facebook was even caught red-handed. This was a couple years ago. They basically did an experiment where they put mostly negative news in the newsfeed to see what the reaction would be. So they're testing and tweaking, and whether Zuckerberg and his team are directly influenced by other organizations or whether it's kind of like a hacking type of process, who knows and who cares?
You
but
mean people up the food chain might be influencing him, as I always call it?
It's bound to happen sooner or later. We need to take advantage of the present time because we don't know how long we're going to have this open forum. We just don't. And I love to be optimistic, but I'm also a realist, and I study history and see what's been happening around the pike. So it concerns me.
You just have to watch the movie 1984 to kind of get a glimpse of where it might be going, Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because I've noticed this on some of my stuff, and it's like I'll post something, and I can usually tell if it's like happening, because you'll see a lot of likes per views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And usually they will say this post is doing better than 90% of your post, right?
Sure.
And then they recommend that you boost it, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll see that this post will be doing better than anything I put down there, and they don't recommend boosting it if it goes against the grain of what's they want people to understand in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I'm sure that that's going to be part of the whole fake news aspect and filtering out from different sites. So yeah, that's why they're probably not recommending it. On the other hand, Facebook is kind of in a catch-22. They're in a little bit of a debacle because they want your money. They want you to spend as much money with them. So if you see this, oh well, your post is doing well, you're more inclined to spend a couple extra dollars to boost it. So
sure.
They want to make as much money as they can. Kind of like even television news networks. They sometimes go against their own propaganda because they're interested in the dollars. Where I remember it was the British Medical Journal, the Lancet, and I think it was the New England Journal of Medicine. All three of their editors came out at one point in time and basically said, most of what we publish it's fraudulent anyway.
Right.
Which was shocking, and I thought I saw that on television a couple times.
Why was that shocking? That's obvious to me.
Oh, no. For the research, yes.
They came out and said it.
But it was shocking that they placed it on television. But there had to be some financial incentive because normally they won't go against the grain like that. Facebook's kind of the same way. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Now, let me ask you this question. I mean, what percentage of people even watch TV anymore? I mean, it seems like a lot of people, the first thing that they do is they probably I don't know. At least this is what I do because I don't have a phone, and I know you probably think that's crazy. And I'm starting to think maybe I am a little crazy after reading Gary Vaynerchuk's new book. It's like you should have that access to. But there's also a part of me that has to detach from all this shit, or I'm going to freaking lose my mind. And I think I've done really well with what how I do it. But what percentage of people? I mean, I know there's probably a huge shift in where people get their news. I mean, you've got to see less and less people are watching TV, and more people are getting their news from social media, right?
Major news networks, they're kind of in a frenzy because people are going to YouTube to watch a lot of the news, and Facebook now, as their video platform has evolved, we're catching it there as well. But YouTube is the second largest search network, so naturally it's easier for people to get what they want in a short 30-second clip or just to watch the news for a couple hours a day. So that's where we're seeing the shift, certainly. And people consume that. Like in Twitter, I still love Twitter as a valuable medium because the news that I want finds me in many instances, and it's much faster. If I'm looking for that, even if you're not looking for the news, if you don't watch TV, like we don't, the news still finds you regardless.
Right.
So, but yeah, the consumption habits have certainly changed from that, and I think it's awesome that you're not totally entrenched in, having the tech snack all the time. I mean, that's great. You can detach. I like to detach, and I find that if you don't have disciplined habits, you're walking around 24/7 with your little,
I call it with the digital leash.
Your digital cocaine.
Yeah, and digital choke chain. It's like you don't even get a break ever. I mean, it's almost like with patients in here, they can't even lay on the table and relax without being on their friggin' phone. I go, put your phone on the shelf and lay down and relax. It's just like it blows me away. You see these kids that are on it all the time, and I mean the reason I do it, and it's almost like to me it's gotten to be kind of like my moniker, is the fact that I grew up without this shit. I grew up, and I've been very successful without having a cell phone, and I just part of me is kind of like I don't want to have a GPS device. I don't want somebody spying on me, whether it's going on or not. I just feel like, when I leave the office, dude, and I'm going to the beach, and I'm going surfing, and I'm not going to I'm not going to take that phone with me, even though I know I could get some positive stuff done in my car. But when do people ever just get a chance to listen to some classical music in their car and just chill out? I mean, the thing is, you've got to you can't be 24/7. I mean, some people say that. Like I said that when we started the show. I mean, I work 18 hours a day and I sleep 6. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing things that I want to do. And part of my life is, I got to work out and surf and keep balance, You
can't just have that sympathetic overload all 24/7. And, a lot of guys that you and I follow in particular, I certainly admire a lot of stuff that they do. I love their content, but it's also about prioritizing. One, we know this, and we're probably not going to find the true health hazards of this, even though that there have been studies about acoustic neuromas, of electromagnetic radiation disruptions. We probably won't know the true effects for, who knows, another 4 to 5 decades, and then everyone's got whatever big problem it is.
They all have lung cancer from smoking.
Pretty much. Yeah. So it's a very similar industry.
Except they're going to have brain cancer from frying their brain.
Pretty much, and it'll be who knows. But at the same time, I think, like you do, it's important to unwind and have priorities. So right. I work and I hustle really, really hard. But for me...
Did you like my hustle video I did the other day? You probably didn't see it. But
I didn't see it yet.
It's just like, it's just like guys wonder, the people wonder why you're successful. It's like, that's one of my things that my dad taught me, man. Dude, well, hustle, dude. Work. Get your shit done, You can sit there and whine it. I don't understand guys that aren't successful in practice. You got the best friggin' product on the planet. Mm-hmm. You got a platform like social media. You can speak. You can talk about it. Why are you not successful? Because you suck, dude. You don't. Number one, and that's like people say, how do you stay motivated? Well, fuck, you could have been born a snail, man. Why are you motivated? It's like you've got the most amazing life that God gave you, and you got the most amazing profession. What do you mean you're not motivated? Jesus Christ, what's it going to take?
I know. I don't get that. I really don't. My family motivates me. I love to travel. Those are like my 2 top priorities. I love social media. I love it, networking and speaking, and I love chiropractic. But my 2 top priorities are my family and travel. And so my business is structured around that stuff. So, while I work hard, I have systems in place. And I think that more importantly than working 24/7 is to have good systems so the work still gets done. Now, on social media, you as a doctor, you have to put your voice in. If you ask Billy, if you ask me, or anyone that's built a huge impact or made millions of dollars from social media or just done big things, they put their own voice in because no one can truly replicate
No, it's just
what
like they've tried, and it's like, oh, you guys, that looks freaking horrible. You spelled everything right, man. You can't do that, man. That's so funny. People say,
That's not me.
I'm not going to post this because this guy can't spell. It's like, is that what that red line means under the word, man? It's like, I just do that just to kind of, it's just like you get, let's
It's
talk
a
about
bad-
haters, because I love haters. It's like, do you think you should ban and delete them? Or do you like sometimes I just get a little, they push it a little too far, and if there's a certain power in me that just likes to delete and ban. What's your opinion on that? And I know the more you get these people hating you, and the more they put comments, and the more they share your stuff, the more it spins it into the algorithms, and it basically helps you get your message out.
Yeah, it's again, it's a case by case basis because certain people, we've all dealt with those that you can't talk logically,
Oh,
rapidly. You can't bring science in because they're dogmatic.
Right.
Certain people, they would need to be banned. Others, I mean, I try to educate, but I'll know very early on where their mindset is or what if it's a legitimately real question, or if they're actually trying to learn something. But I think that's case by case. And as you know, there are networks out there. When an article hits about vaccinations, it goes into like I can't remember what it was. It was I think Bill Gates funded this community or something where they're basically pushing the status quo. So anytime, let's say, a vaccination article comes out, all of a sudden you'll get a flood of comments from this community, which, of course, the good comments, the status quo comments get pushed up. And they're usually one of the first ones there. And then as negativity, or if there's something like a vaxxed documentary, or if there's something that is against the grain hardcore, you still see those initial people like voting everything down. And so that's a coordinated effort to alter the news there. But haters and trolls, they come from, I mean, some are just like that. Some are dogmatic, some are paid. But regardless, you might have to curate and moderate your own community and ban some people.
What I do a lot of times is I'll go to their page, and just if I got somebody that's a real asshole,
yeah,
I will go to their page, and usually they have some kind of like picture of a hot dog or some action figure or some just grotesque picture or something. And then you look at, they don't have any friends. It's just a made up Facebook page that's meant to just go attack and spew shit on your page. And it's just like, I don't really, as I tell people all the time, if you want to shoot up with drugs and you want to eat GMO and you don't want to get adjusted, I don't have a problem with that. But the people that follow me are interested in the things that we have to talk about. I'm not here to try to save everybody. I'm going to throw you a life vest, and if you want it, great. If you don't, eat all the friggin' GMO glyphosate you want, bro. I don't have a problem with it. I realize there are too many people. I'm just trying to help those that are interested in looking at different ways to heal the body. And it's just like, to me, it's like, if you don't like it, why are you on my page? But like you said, these guys are paid to kind of basically just put negative input on your page and just try to...
Or some people are just under such, again, beliefs because they've never... And this is the power of the medical system, from the time that we're little. The white coat symbolizes power and authority, and you do what the white coat says. That's just how everyone is programmed a certain way. So to get out of that, to knock someone's foundation out, and to not, you can replace it, but then they kind of go back into their comfort zone because everybody else thinks a certain way. So some people are really that dogmatic, and they believe, they nothing you say or I say will change their opinion, even if it's, quote, science. I mean,
even if God came down and said it.
Exactly.
Then they're going to want to see proof that it's God.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun, too. I mean, I love kind of steering it up and, seeing how stuff... It's also, I've noticed, though, as of probably the past couple years, it's obviously, there's not as much organic involvement as there used to be, because that is also controlled, and they want you to boost and spend money to get your stuff out there.
Yeah, which basically goes in face. And I knew that they were doing this before they came out and publicly said it, because we were tracking like crazy. And but there are a couple of ways and things that you can do as a chiropractor if you want to get more free visibility. One is do live video. We have a good window of opportunity with live video. It's very simple.
Is that called Facebook Live then, right?
Yeah, Facebook Live. So you go on your phone right here, and then once you go to the Facebook app, as you would publish an update, you're going to see the little live option, and then from there. You can title it any way you want if it's about a topic, and then once you click go live, it immediately streams to your fans. Sometimes the longer you stay live, the more people that you'll get on. And even when the broadcast is ended, it goes to your Facebook fan page as a video, and you still get more legs and visibility. You don't have to just talk about what you talk about every day in the office anyway. Little health tip, good bit of information, maybe feature some research, or maybe answer a commonly asked question. But that's an easy way to at least get more free visibility. And like you were talking about earlier, another way is to get more comments and engagement. So ask open-ended questions. Start to fuel more engagement. Mm-hmm. So the more comments
what do you think about asking people to share it too? Doesn't that help ramp it up too?
Absolutely. I mean, if you tell somebody what to do, they're going to be more likely to do it. So, if you ask them to share it afterwards, if you're providing really good value, you'll get a higher percentage of shares, mm-hmm. especially if you're promoting content. We start to see that, if you promote something and you're getting way more shares than you're getting likes, that's a great sign. That means you've really struck a nerve in the marketplace.
Right.
And if you're getting 2 to 3 shares for every 10 likes, that's still good. That's what we like to strive for on any content.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I just did a video on glyphosate and how right here in Irvine they banned it in parks. They were seeing that, they were coming with these hazmat suits and spraying the weeds and shit in the parks. But then 10 minutes later, the kids are rolling around in the park, playing in the grass. And then they noticed an epidemic of brain cancer associated in the areas. I mean, it gets hard to correlate all that stuff.
Are we that stupid as a society?
Yeah, it's amazing to me. Mind. It's just like, let's spray. It's no different than spraying DDT. It's just another chemical that causes cancer. Just because DDT has the stigma about it. Well, glyphosate's the same freaking shit, okay? It's not the same molecule, but it has the same effect. But then what kind of blows me away is there was just an article I read in social media. It's obvious to me. I mean, if you're having foods, processed foods, all processed foods are loaded with corn, soy, wheat, all sprayed with glyphosate. Mm-hmm. Take it the next step. It's in your water supply. That's why I'm big on cleaning the water. That's why I've got the drinking water system that I try to get chiropractors to buy. And then also, if you're bathing in glyphosate, it's probably not good either. And chlorine and fluorides. I mean, you wonder why you have gut biome issues. Well, shit, you're drinking water with chlorine, and it's meant to kill bugs in your water. Why wouldn't it kill bugs in your gut?
It corrodes pipes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're drinking the corroded pipe on top of it. Everywhere you look's a Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
But if your health isn't an issue, don't buy a water system. Buy a friggin' microwave, okay? And then the big thing is it's in your vaccines, ladies. You're all talking, oh, we lead this organic lifestyle, and I only feed my kids organic foods, And then you're shooting your kids up with friggin' Chinese vaccines that are loaded with glyphosate because they grow the viruses on friggin' dead animals fed GMO corn. It's like, I don't understand where there's this disconnect with people, You're all organic, but you're shooting your kids up with polysorbate and acetone and formaldehyde, not to mention all the mercury and aluminum. And then it just goes
health is pretty simple overall. It's just there's a lot of private interest and shenanigans and propaganda that would try to cloud our judgment on the obvious, even though the science validates the obvious and the common sense. It's just it is a very interesting time. So, but certain people will take the information. Others, you're not going to be able to convince them either way.
That's what I said. Hey, if you want to, like I tell people, if you want to shoot up, shoot up. I'm not having, I get a lot of, it's weird. I get a lot of trolls from Australia. I don't know. They're really pro-vaccine in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Hardcore. Just like the UK. Similar.
But I just noticed because you can look at where your fans or where you get a lot of responses. It's usually a lot of it's from Australia.
Yeah.
Sorry about the interruption here. I got a phone call here. That happens, trying to wear 3 hats at once. Do you still have a few more minutes?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just gonna say that I'm pretty active on Twitter and throughout my.
I was just gonna add, dude, you read my mind.
I understood about the trolls in Australia and the UK because I'll track chiropractic hashtags, and I used to do it a lot more than I do now because I realized that not enough chiropractors are really on there, and I was presenting, again, trying to present logical, intelligent arguments, research, and science, but you realize that many of those individuals, like the Edzard Ernsts, and I didn't even know who he was until I got
Honorable Hank. Has he gotten into your...
Yeah. I've had conversations with him, Guy Chapman, and some of these other, quote, skeptics, fake skeptics, as I like to call them.
Skeptics.
Yeah, they are, for sure. But yeah, so it's just a losing battle, though. I mean, you'll find in terms of you're never going to convince them
No.
because they're part of I don't know if they're paid or not, but they sure do act like it because they don't entertain new. I mean, if you're a skeptic, then you have to entertain, you have to be skeptical across the board, and you have to, like, logic and reason has to penetrate, and so does new science, but it doesn't with those guys.
No, I know. And it's just, well, it's the same thing with me. I mean, I don't care what you tell me. I don't care how much research there is. You're never going to get me to stick a needle in my arm to try to pump up immunity because it just goes against, number one, my own philosophical beliefs that I've been bred over, 58 years of life. I mean, I'm not into taking drugs. I don't care if it's even going to improve my brain function. I'm not going to, because I know in the end there's going to be some negative side effect. There's no way you can bend rules and try to jumpstart the immune system without having some type of negative effect. And I mean, it's just that's the way they think. They think that the vaccines literally saved the world because they haven't done the reading, they haven't done the research like I have, and like a lot of Tenpenny and Suzanne Humphreys, who are good friends of mine. It's just like it's what we know with chiropractic, what we know with healthcare. There's certain things that you'll never convince me that I'll never do. I don't care how much research you've got. So I understand where they're coming from because they're pretty much probably brainwashed to the same degree I'm brainwashed in the right direction is the way I look at it. So you just mentioned something. I wanted to ask you about one Instagram, which is really just kind of isn't it owned by Facebook now?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the best way? Because I'm using Instagram a lot more lately.
Uh-huh.
And you say, how many times do you think you should post on your fan page on Facebook on a day?
On Facebook, 3 to 4 times per day to start is good. I mean, just to get something out there, and one of those you will certainly probably post or boost depending on what type of content it is, and if it's a testimonial, I mean, certainly you want to get as many people to see those as possible.
And the thing about testimonies, you can just like go back and use the same testimonial over and over and over too. I've got great ones on colic, and I can run that thing, I can boost it, and I can guarantee you'll get 2 or 3 new colic patients in my office that day. Or
Sure.
Infertility, same thing.
Yeah. It's
I'm going to get into all. I've been taking a lot of notes.
And I have an entire chapter devoted to Instagram and my book too. So make sure you look over that. But one of the high leverage strategies on Instagram is to find influencers or potentially even other local business owners, because local business owners, maybe you have a list of personal trainers that you treat, yoga instructors, or anyone that resonates with your philosophy, nutrition store owners or whoever. You could easily approach them, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, and say, hey, listen, let's say you frequent a nutrition store and you want to find a whole food organic supplement that's really, really good. Hey, Joe, do you have an article on how to choose the best whole food nutritional, blah, 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 blah. And he could give you content that you could share with your followers, and then you could approach him a week later after you basically give first and get him new fans and followers and say, hey, Joe, check this out. I've got this great article on 3 questions every parent must ask about child scoliosis. I mean, would you mind sharing this with your Instagram followers or your Facebook fans? And what do you think he's going to say?
Right.
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
And you could just make a list of business owners, and these are influencers, people that have their own customers and audiences, and some might even have thousands and thousands on their local profiles. And if you're playing in the big space, the international space, well, the same principle applies, really. And that's one of the easier high leverage ways to grow your following on Instagram.
Wow. A couple more questions because I'm running up on. I got 10 minutes left here. How long did it take you to write that friggin' book?
It took me about. I had some of the content for years before, because a lot of it is pretty foundational in terms of just outreach, communication, and marketing. But 4 months is when I really buckled down, several hours per day, putting it together, writing new stuff, and then hammering it out. So 4 months plus the stuff that I've accumulated over the years.
Yeah, and did you have anybody help you with that, or did you? I mean, how did you? Tell me the process, because I've been trying to write this friggin' book forever, and it's like one of the biggest. It's trying to find spare time, and I mean, do you practice at all anymore?
I still have the office here in Georgia, and if I'm not speaking or consulting, I mean, I'll get my hands on patients certainly. But I've got a couple of ICs that are in the office, and they see their own patients.
What's an IC? Independent contractor. I figured it out. Okay.
But it was hard. I mean, it takes discipline, and it's not something that it's not like an immediate thing or immediate return. I wanted to have this book out there, one, because a lot of people need this information. It's about creating financial prosperity and really impact, not just what I've been able to do, but I looked at people that were like my mentors and the highest paid internet entrepreneurs.
Like, who are your mentors?
In terms of marketing, a guy, Frank Kern. The guy he's brilliant, and he's one of those guys you just feel like you want to take out your credit card before he's even done with his message. But he's not like, it's just good stuff that he puts out, and it makes you money. It makes you a bigger impact. So once I get results, I'm like, oh wow, okay, I'll tune in some more. Same concept with anything. So that's just one of the guys online, but you learn what strategies people are using in conjunction with your own, how to build a brand from scratch, even if you didn't have any special handouts. This is what you do, and these are the strategies that you can incorporate, whether it's the Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, joint venture partnerships, blah, 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 and you become an influencer. That's just, it takes work, but slowly over time, you can certainly become an influencer and be like that, I would call it the celebrity expert in the marketplace. In medicine, you've got the general practitioner, you've got like the specialist, like the neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeon always does better financially than the generalist, and of course, then you've got the celebrity expert, which would be something like Dr. Oz,
right,
as an example. You know what I mean? So it's a good idea even for chiropractors. You want to be on the top of the food chain, even if you're just starting out in your local market, because it's the biggest credibility thing that you can be, and then certainly you can branch that off. You can write your own book for even a greater positioning tool and such. But that's kind of the philosophy that I teach.
As far as the book, is it something that has been financially rewarding to you, or is it something that just maybe got you to different platforms, or
all the above? I mean, I used it. We launched. It was #1 in 9 different categories on Amazon when we launched it, and then it got featured in Forbes magazine. I had a lot of people in the profession. They were promoting it to their lists. Certainly, you've got the royalties in your book deal, which is on the front end, but on the back end, I mean, this is a 500-plus page book.
No, it's a big book, dude. It's exhaustive.
And in the very back, there's probably 5 pages or whatever I might talk about. Okay, so hey, if you want extra help on X thing, well, here are some of our products and services. So it's not a pitch fest at all. Right. And it's something that if you're going to put your name behind it and you want it to impact millions of people, you want to lead with some of your best stuff, because you're going to reach into new markets and have new customers and clients and people that are going to see this thing and be like, wow. And I figured if somebody approaches and sees my name for the first time, I want them to just see, I want to knock their socks off.
Right,
and
right.
That's the reviews from the book.
I've done the same thing with CalJam. It's just like, I want people to come and go, fuck, this guy's serious about what he's doing here. I mean, it's not like we're just at some friggin' Holiday Inn, and throwing up a stage. It's a rock show with great speakers and content. So, in closing, I really want to, if you're interested, I'd love to come out and do a DCS for us sometime. Sure. And then I would eventually love, maybe even next year, have you on the CalJam stage, if that'd be cool. Because I really love what you're doing. I mean, it's great to have somebody in our profession that's got it down like you. And I mean, that's one of the beauties of this profession that we have. We've got so many brothers and sisters we're all working together and striving together literally to change consciousness and change the direction, not only of healthcare, but I'm trying to get people to realize that we've got to start taking care of the planet too, because I mean, these kids need a place to live. There's not a planet B, there's not a place where we can, I mean, some people think we can go to Mars and live, but I think we should maybe just take care of where we are right now. And there's a lot of big issues, my flavor with the geoengineering and the friggin' Fukushima shit and a lot of things that are going on with just corporate greed and the destruction of the planet, that's part of CalJam's mission, is not only to get chiropractic to the world, but also make sure that we have a planet to live on.
Yeah, I think that's very respectable. And again, I mentioned this to you in Rome, but the culture that you've built, so many doctors can learn from that, because you started from scratch as well. And you created this movement of something that was unique. You mixed some great music with some powerful lessons and some teachers and some influencers. And I just think that's a very intelligent play. And that's you're going to grow by leaps and bounds, certainly over the years anyway. But I think a lot of doctors can replicate. And just from a marketing and business standpoint, strategic alliances.
Oh, dude, I was just going to say that. Because sometimes I get called the mixer because I got David Wolf on my stage or something. But dude, you got somebody like that?
That's just limited.
I'm going to be at his show next. I'm going to speak at his stage next year, and then I'm going to speak to 3,000 people that are there trying to figure out longevity, and
Yeah.
they've never heard the goddamn chiropractic story, and I'm going to deliver. You know, I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to tell them it's about back pain and neck pain. It's about really life. That's what chiropractic is to me, and it's living at a higher level too.
You spoke on Alex Jones's show, which, oh my God, he has how many millions of people? Like, that's
14
like
million.
That's insane. I mean, so that is awesome. So I mean, I just think that a lot of doctors can learn from that, and you got to set aside the limited and limiting beliefs, and success leaves clues. And I think that you're a prime example of that. So I just think that's awesome.
Well, thank you for being on the show today, bro. I'd love to do
Sure.
another one in the future if you're up for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's fun. I mean, we're just having a conversation. If people want to listen and they want to, I mean, I'm just hanging out talking to you. And if people want to listen, they can listen. If they don't, then go watch some more TV, as I say. All right, brother. Rock and roll.
Right,
I will talk to you on the flip side. Want to say how much I love and appreciate everything that you've done for the chiropractic profession and allowing us to get our message to millions, brother.
Thank you, brother.
And your book. Why don't you mention the name of your book? Because I'll probably blow it. Yeah, hold it up.
Social Media Made Me Rich. If you go to socialmediamademerich.com, you can download the first 6 chapters for free, and I promise it'll change your life. It's a powerful book, and it's what you need to be using this year and beyond to grow your influence and your practice.
And, I mean, I'm not going to say I read the whole book. I'm a nibbler. I like to nibble books like that. Like, I'm going to read this chapter and that chapter. People ask me what book I'm reading. I'm reading like freaking 10 books right now. It's just whatever my appetite says. And they can find you on Facebook at Matthew Loop.
Yes.
Same thing with Instagram, everything else. Anything else you want to say in closing?
Thanks for having me on. Love you guys.
Dude, it was more than my pleasure. I had a great time. It was probably one of the easiest interviews I've ever done because it was just me trying to... And I took 2 pages of notes, dude. All right, rock and roll.
All right, man. See you later.
Happy birthday, Cal Jam! It's our 10th anniversary, Cal Jam 10! Come out and party with all of us, Dave Asprey, Suzanne Humphreys, David Wolf. We're going to have the most awesome celebration celebrating massive health, celebrating planet sustainability, and celebrating chiropractic!